All right, let's dive into something pretty sweet today, Middle Eastern sweets, to be exact.
That's delicious.
Oh, it is. And we're going to be looking specifically at a company called Shirdell.
Okay.
And their website is just, it's like looking through a window of a really high-end confectionery shop.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So their website is shirdell.se. And they have a lot of really unique offerings. But they're also very clear that they want people to see this as more than just sweets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was just looking at it, and it seems like they're very interested in presenting this as like a cultural experience.
Right. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into some of the specific sweets. One of the things that caught my eye was the Parna fruit leather pomegranate.
Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing.
I love pomegranate.
Me too.
It says it's intensely tart and fruity, and it's made from dried pomegranate, so it's like a
Right.
fruit leather.
Right.
I wonder if it tastes like those pomegranate molasses you get in Middle Eastern markets.
Ooh, that's a good question. I actually don't know, but I feel like that concentrated tartness is definitely a key element in Middle Eastern sweets.
Yeah.
A lot of things have that real sweet and sour thing going on.
Yeah, and I think it probably reflects, the climate of where
Yeah.
those ingredients come from. It makes sense.
Totally.
Okay, so speaking of unique flavors, the Butna Sawa,
Ooh.
pistachios and cardamom, like that to me just screams Middle East.
Oh, for sure. Pistachios especially have like a really long history in that region.
Mm.
They were even used as currency at some point.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so they've always been like a very, very valuable ingredient in Middle Eastern cultures.
So like every bite of this Butna Sawa, you're like tasting history.
Basically.
That's awesome. And then the cardamom too.
Mm.
Love cardamom, that warm spice.
Yeah, it's perfect with the pistachios.
Yeah, I bet.
It was also a really prized commodity, traded along all the ancient spice routes. And it pops up in both sweet and savory dishes all over the Middle East.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about something with a bit of crunch. The HDL peanut chicky,
Okay.
roasted peanuts and jaggery.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not so familiar with jaggery. What's that like?
So jaggery is unrefined cane sugar, and it has this really nice, like, deep flavor.
Okay.
I don't know, it's kind of like a more earthy and complex sweetness than a refined sugar.
Okay.
And in India, where this sweet comes from, it's been used for centuries.
Mm.
Not just as a sweetener, but also in traditional medicine like Ayurveda.
So it's like a more nuanced and also a healthier version of sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And its use actually extends way beyond India, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you find it in a bunch of different cultures across Asia and Africa.
Wow.
So it has this really, really global reach.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool how one ingredient can kind of pop up everywhere like that.
And be used in so many different ways.
To-
Okay, so before we go on a jaggery world tour here,
Yeah.
let's talk about one more sweet. The Jelly Domo Cherry Vegetarian.
All right.
These sound kind of fun and maybe a little bit more familiar
Definitely, yeah.
for anyone who wants to maybe just dip their toes into the world of Middle Eastern sweets.
You're right. They are a familiar flavor, but I also think it's cool that Shirdell is offering a vegetarian option.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It speaks to like that growing demand for plant-based sweets,
Absolutely.
which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it just shows that they're trying to be really inclusive and, invite everyone to try all these amazing flavors.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you kind of touched on this before, but, all of these sweets are so much more than just something sweet,
Mhm.
They're really a part of the culture and like the fabric of life in the Middle East.
I was thinking that too. It's like food, especially sweets.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this universal language that can really connect us to different places and cultures.
Totally. I mean, just imagine like bustling marketplaces, filled with spices and all these beautiful sweets.
Yeah.
And then like families getting together to share these sweets during holidays or even just, for afternoon tea.
I wonder if there are like specific traditions or customs associated with some of these sweets.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Like, are certain sweets eaten at certain times a year?
Oh, for sure. So like during Ramadan, for example,
Oh, yeah.
dates are really important. They're often the first thing that people eat to break their fast
Right.
because it's like, it symbolizes sweetness and nourishment.
Okay.
And then for Eid al-Fitr, which is the celebration at the end of Ramadan, sweets are everywhere. Like you'll find baklava, namu,
Oh, no.
all sorts of delicious things, and they're shared with friends and family
Yeah.
as symbols of like joy and gratitude.
That's cool. So food can be so symbolic
Oh, yeah,
in a lot of different ways.
for sure.
We've been talking about Middle Eastern sweets kind of broadly, but I wonder if there are different, like, regional variations.
Oh, absolutely. The Middle East is such a diverse place
Yeah.
with all these different cultures and traditions.
Yeah.
So each region has their own unique take on sweets.
Hmm.
Like in Lebanon and Syria, for example,
Okay.
you find a lot of sweets that were influenced by the Ottoman Empire.
Makes sense.
Yeah, lots of pastries filled with pistachios, walnuts,
Oh, wow.
rose water, all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then as you move towards the Gulf,
Okay.
you'll see dates play a much bigger role.
Oh, interesting.
And they're often paired with spices like saffron and cardamom.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's tons of regional variation within Middle Eastern sweets.
It's really like a whole world to discover,
Totally.
even within just that one category of sweets.
And even the techniques for making the sweets vary from region to region.
Right.
Like in some areas, there's this art form called sugar pulling, where they stretch molten sugar into these thin threads.
Wow.
It's really amazing. And then in other places, they focus more on like layered pastries with phyllo dough.
I was going to say baklava.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating
Yeah.
how much history and geography and culture all comes together
For sure.
to create all these different sweets.
That's what's so cool about exploring these sweets.
Yeah.
You're not just, eating something sweet. You're getting a taste of history
Right.
and tradition and culture.
Speaking of exploring, Shirdell has a video on their website
Oh, right.
that they encourage people to watch.
Yeah.
I wonder if they talk more about some of these regional variations and techniques in the video.
Yeah, I bet they do. They seem really passionate about sharing not just their products, but
Yeah.
also stories behind them.
Right.
So I'm sure it's a really cool video. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Me too. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here
For sure.
of all the amazing sweets that are out there. Well, we've really taken a deep dive into these sweets today.
Yeah, we have.
We started by looking at Shirdell's website, and I mean, we've learned so much about the history, the tradition,
Totally.
the regional variations.
Yeah. It's amazing how much you can learn about a culture through its food.
Absolutely. Like, I'm still thinking about that Parna fruit leather pomegranate,
Oh, yeah.
that tartness. It's just so iconic.
Yeah, that balance of sweet and tart is really key in a lot of Middle Eastern flavors.
And the butnasalwa
Yeah.
with the pistachios and the cardamom.
Oh, yeah.
Just like every bite, you're like, whoa, history.
Right. And the jaggery and that HDL
Oh,
peanut.
jaggery.
Yeah.
That really blew my mind. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's so cool how something that seems so simple, like unrefined sugar,
Mm-hmm.
actually has this like really rich history, and it's used all over the world.
And those Jelly Domo cherry vegetarian gummies,
Yeah.
even though they were like a familiar flavor,
Mm-hmm.
it really made us think about, demand for plant-based sweets.
Right, and how traditions are constantly evolving to
Yeah.
reflect like the way people are eating today.
So I guess our journey with Shirdell doesn't have to end here.
Oh, definitely not.
They're encouraging people to watch their video to explore all their products on the website.
Yeah. What are you most excited to learn more about?
I'm really interested in seeing like those regional variations, like actually seeing those techniques, the sugar pulling,
Yeah.
the baklava making, all that.
I'm with you on that. I'd love to see that too.
I feel like Shirdell has really opened our eyes
Totally.
to all these amazing sweets.
I think this is a great takeaway for anyone listening,
Yeah.
Don't just like eat a sweet, think about where it came from, what's the story behind it.
The history.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it'll inspire you to, go check out a local Middle Eastern market
Yeah.
or even travel to the region and experience all these amazing sweets firsthand.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great note to end on. So
Yeah.
to all our listeners, keep exploring,
Keep tastes.
discover those stories behind the sweets. Happy tasting, everyone.